Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Happy Monday. Are you having a good start to your week? I'm having a good start to my week. A little bit of a slow start to my week, and I have had a really bad headache all day today. But other than that, it's been a really good day. It's beautiful outside. I don't even know what the temperature is. Let's do a little time and temperature check really quick. It is currently 6:02 p.m., which with the time change, it would right now be starting to get dark, but with the time change, it is still bright and sunny outside, so that's good. Let's see what the temperature is. I think it was supposed to be in the 60s today. It is, oh my gosh, it is currently 68 degrees. So my plan is, right now, I just uploaded my drama video, so I still have to post that when I get done with this. And I'm uploading my PO unboxing. I finally did my PO unboxing today. I had so much fun doing it, and I got so many really nice things. And Alex came home, and then I was showing him all the stuff that I got, because we got like a painting of Boo Radley. And then somebody had crocheted me this little Boo Radley in this little purple bed, like his little purple bed. And so I was showing Alex all that stuff. He loved it. It was so sweet. So I had so much fun doing that video. And then after that, I was going to do like a review video, and I wanted to do my review of The Comfort of Crows for my Peter Likes Books channel, but just by then he was home, and I was like, you know what, I want to take a walk tonight, I want to watch a bunch of shows, I want to read, I'll probably take a nap at some point. I don't want to stay up super late, because tomorrow I have to start getting ready no later than 4:30 to get an Uber to our therapy appointment, and then after therapy, Alex is going to drop me off at Tanya's, and we're going to a meeting. So that's tomorrow. So depending on what time I get up tomorrow will have a lot to do with how many videos I film. So I was like, I can't stay up super late tonight. I know I should probably just skip my nap, and maybe I will. We'll see. Sometimes when I get back from my walks, I feel, completely energetic and like I'm awake. So maybe after I get done with my walk, I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to stay up now and read and watch shows. But I have kind of different shows I want to watch tonight, because I went into watching my shows last night, and what I ended up watching was not what I had planned to watch at all. So I'm excited about this evening. I was actually putting my calendar together for the next couple weeks. So like appointments that I had in my phone. I don't put any appointments in my phone, but like people, had like text, the confirmation of the appointment and stuff. I was putting them in my calendar, and I was looking at this week, because for the appointments for this week I'd already put in my calendar. So tomorrow night we have marriage counseling, and then I'm going to a meeting with Tanya. Wednesday is Cousin Fun Day. Thursday I have my counseling session, my individual counseling session. And then on Friday I have my doctor's appointment, which I thought was last week, but it's Friday. So I have my doctor's appointment on Friday. And then next week I have things too. So the next couple weeks I have pretty busy weeks. So just kind of take it as it goes, take one day at a time, and we'll get through it, and so just film videos around that, and but yeah, I wanted to film a lot more videos today. I actually would have loved to have filmed videos on all of my channels. I don't really know, I kind of try to look to see like who watches videos on what day. I'm trying to kind of figure out, to be honest with you, like, I feel like I need to take, like, other than vlogging, I feel like I need to take, like, one day of the week off from, like, filming a lot of videos. I don't really mind filming on a Saturday and Sunday. Alex, he's, like, right now, he's upstairs, he's, like, rolling through TikToks with his AirPods in, he's, like, laughing. It's so funny, because I'm, like, sitting down working at the computer, and he'll just, all of a sudden, he'll just, like, be, like, bust out laughing about something. So, I don't really, hey, how are you? Good. So I don't really, like on the weekends, he's like, do you need to film this weekend or whatever? This weekend he was like, out with his girlfriends on Saturday. But on Sunday, like when we get back from, brunch, it's kind of weird because I kind of forget. I always think back in like the true crime book clubs when we had them on Sundays. We're kind of in the middle of a hiatus. April's when I'll be making the announcement of what's happening with the true crime book club. But, there'd be like the one Sunday of a month that I would do the book club, and then after that, I would do vlogs. But I feel like not like just 6 months ago, on a Sunday I would come home from brunch, and then I would film like a drama video, like a Peter Does Stuff video, and then I would vlog. So I've been kind of like just vlogging on Sundays. So if I get back to filming on Saturdays and Sundays, I can do that. I don't really know which day is best. Thursdays and Fridays seem to be kind of slow days, and then people seem to watch videos more on the weekend, I think probably because most people are off and things like that. And Monday, like today, I was kind of like beating myself up a little bit. I was like, you know, God, I wanted to get more videos done. But Mondays and Tuesdays kind of are slow days. Sometimes I just can never tell. I don't really know. You guys let me know. The thing is, when I ask that, when I say like, because whenever I say like, what's the best day for a long vlog, it's so funny the responses I get. I'll get like, several people will say, oh, the weekends are like when I catch up on vlogs. And other people will say, I watch them in the weekdays during the morning. And then other people will say, every night I watch it, so it doesn't really matter when you post it. And then other people will say Wednesday nights. Like, it's just like there's no rhyme or reason to it, so I can't really figure it out. But I don't know. I remember back in the day, you know, when people were trying to figure out the algorithm and stuff like that, people would tell me they'd be like, the best day to post a video, the best time and date to post a video. And I think it was something like Fridays at 2 o'clock. I don't even know how they came up with that. And they're like, the best time to post videos is blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, I was actually talking to my YouTube manager. And so one of the things the YouTube manager does when they go through with you is they go through like, you know, I don't really look at my algorithm stuff, and she's really sweet. So she was like, well, let's like look at like your best times and stuff like that to post. I said, I'm gonna post when the video's ready. And she just started, she knows me because we've worked for a while. She was just laughing at me and stuff like that. She's like, well, you know, we have to like go over this stuff because this is like the first thing you do, like, you know. And so it was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, so she told me that the best time for me to post is during the week, Monday through Friday. Or during the week, Monday through Friday from 12 to 6 p.m. I was like, that is not, I don't ever post at 12 to 6 p.m. She started laughing so hard. I was like, they look at all that kind of stuff, and they can tell you like what's like the hot cities in the United States that like the most people watch. It's so crazy when you like, anyway, this stuff is interesting to me, but it doesn't change how I do anything. And I've told her that so many times. I'm like, because she always wants to start off every meeting with that. I'm like, that's great. Like, I love doing this, but like it's interesting to me, but it doesn't change how I do anything. It's like, I think like my viewership is something like, it's like 97% women. Like, that doesn't surprise me. You know what I mean? So it's just, but it is interesting when you kind of like look. It's not just cities in the United States, but cities around the world where there's like the most viewership and things like that. I actually have like a huge viewership in Canada, which is kind of, especially in the Ontario area, which is kind of interesting. So I don't know, but that's not going to change. Like, when I post video, I mean, I'm going to post videos when the videos are done. I've been like, and I asked not too long ago, I said, if I post the vlogs like earlier, and a lot of people were like, oh, and like they even commented when I posted a couple of vlogs, a couple people were like, oh, you posted the vlog earlier, thank you, blah, blah, whatever. In all honesty, it kind of depends on like how late I get. So here's the deal. When I get done when I get done filming the vlog, I take it in immediately. Like, I don't wait, I just go right to the computer, and then I upload my memory card. That takes probably 2 minutes. And then when the memory card is uploaded, then I put it into iMovie and I render it. You have to put it together to make it into like a file format, so you can upload it on another, you know, source. And that usually takes me, well, it depends. If the video, let's just say if a vlog is like an hour, that usually takes me about 20 to 30 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. If it's an hour and a half to 2 hours, it'll take me like a half an hour to 40 minutes. But sometimes, like, my computer's been working pretty good lately. I'm like holding off to have to get a new computer. I know when I say that, then I'll do it tonight. But the days that it was moving slow, it was taking like an hour and a half to render it, which was incredibly long, because usually it takes like 20 to 30 minutes. And then to upload it on my phone, it really just depends kind of on how strong the Wi-Fi is. If I upload it on the computer, it's super, super slow. Like, it takes 3 hours, 3 plus hours. If I upload it on my phone, it usually takes 40 minutes to an hour. That's like an hour and a half vlog. And then once it's done, it goes through processing. That probably takes another 10 minutes. Checking can take anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours. You just never know. And then it's ready to go. Once it's ready to go, if I'm sitting there watching a TV, like if Alex and I are watching a TV show, I don't usually pause it unless it's like he takes a break to put something in the kitchen. I'll be like, let me throw up my vlog really quick. I'll wait till the show's over. But then I just have to go up and I just have to publish it. So that's how the timing of the vlog. Now, if I get my vlog done like tonight, I mean, it's 6:12 now, so just kind of, who texted me? it just kind of depended on, it just kind of depends on, my phone has been, okay, this is a complete side note. This Fox Hollow stuff, you know, I've been, anyway, let me finish this really quick. So tonight, like, let's say if I get done with this vlog at like 7 o'clock, let's just say, the earliest I could probably have it up would be like 9:30 or 10. So the later I get the vlog done, the later the vlog gets up. If it's after 9, I just post it. If it's done at like 6:30 or 7, like on a weekend, I usually wait till like 9 to post it. So 9's usually the earliest I post it. But if on the weekends, if I have it done at like 6 or 7, do you guys want me to post it that early? So many people are like, I watch it when I go to bed. So I don't want to post it like super early, because then what would you watch? What would you go to bed to? That's how I think, right? So I don't know. Oh, there's a, Tanya calls it the Ups truck, because everybody calls it the Ups truck. I've never heard anybody besides Tanya, the UPS truck. I've never heard anybody besides, it's probably from my husband. He's been ordering clothes left and right for Ultra. He bought clothes today, and then he took them back to the mall, because I said, why didn't you just try them at the store? He said, I didn't feel like it, which I totally relate to, but I was like, okay, it's not for me. Anyway, Tiny's the only person I know that calls it the Ups store. Do you call, or the Ups man, the Ups guy, the Ups truck, do you call it the Ups? I call it UPS. Whenever I say it, because it's Ups, everybody knows that, Peter. I go, Tanya, you're the only person I've ever heard call it that. She just laughs. She thinks it's so funny. But anyway, what was I going to say? I've been out here a couple times today because, well, not a couple times. Twice, I guess. Oh, my neighbors next door just came home. I was talking to my neighbor next door. She was, her poor dog got hurt. She was telling me she was over at her parents' house. She was telling me all about it. Her dog's fine. The dog was out in the yard. She was like this. But she was out there, and she was like doing stuff to her yard, just getting her yard spring ready and all that kind of stuff. So we were talking, and then when I was walking back, was I only out? Maybe I was only outside one time. Was that when I got the mail? I don't even remember now. It's all just kind of blurring together. But then one of my other neighbors that lives down by the pool, she was walking by. She used to be on the board, so I was talking to her, not about any HOA stuff. We were just kind of like talking. She's retired now, so she always tells me what she's doing with her life, and so she's the one that walks like 4 times a day around the neighborhood. She's so sweet. But yeah, I mean, I can post it earlier. Like, I mean, if you guys want me to post it like 7 or 8, I can do that on the days that I get it done that early. It just depends, like, you know. And then other nights, like, we went to Carlos and Liliana's the other day. By the way, I just want to say thank you guys so much for sharing in the excitement of our nephew. It's the coolest thing in the entire world. A couple people were like, I don't know if I rushed through saying his name. His name is Cruz, C-R-U-Z. And so, which I love that name, by the way. So, I mean, I loved it before, and even more so now. And, but anyway, so, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I can post it earlier if you guys want me to. Like I was saying, thank you for sharing in the excitement of us being nephew or being uncles again with our new nephew. We're so excited. But like I can post it earlier if you guys want me to. How did I even get talking about that? I don't know. Well, before I get into like my last night and the day and stuff like that, let me just tell you. Okay. Okay, so this Fox Hollow Farm stuff. I didn't really realize, like, how embedded I was in it, if you want to know the truth. Like, I feel like this is kind of the intro that I give to people when I talk on the phone to them. I've talked to so many people, investigators. I mean, I have talked to reporters at this point. I mean, I have talked to so many people that are currently working on the case and things like that have said, like, you're actually sitting on quite a bit of information. Somebody sent me information yesterday. I'm not going to share it. Somebody sent, well, they sent it to Mel, actually. And, which was interesting because they follow me on Instagram. And so I said to Mel, I said, can you have them send this to me on Instagram? And because she forwarded it to me right away. And so then they sent it to me on Instagram, and then I forwarded it to the authorities. It's interesting what people send me. Okay, so, I mean, I get everything from I've had so many family members reach out to me and thank me for keeping the story alive, which, like, that is just, that's the nicest thing in the entire world to hear that, you know. I've had people that were involved in the case 30 years ago. I'm not talking about victims. I'm talking about, like, people that were involved, like, or in the case have reached out to me. I've had people that are a lot, well, anyway, there's a lot that I can't say. So, all of it, okay, so I get a lot of stuff. I get a lot of emails from people that are, like, speculating about stuff. Like, did you ever think about this? Did you ever think about that? I sent in a video not too long ago. I think it was on here, actually, that I was kind of taking a break from making some Fox Hollow Farm videos. So the guy that I call my source, so he has a lot of information from years ago, and, I'm like, now I'm trying to think of, like, how, if I shared how, like, he knows the information. But anyway, so he's heavily working with the people that are involved in it. And so whenever I'm reached out to and people send me stuff, unless it's, like, speculation, like, oh, did you ever think about this, or did you ever think about that, or it could be this, like, I don't send that stuff usually on. But when people send me factual information, or they say, oh, I was here, or I know this, I immediately send that off to the authorities, immediately. And so, like, this is kind of the backstory. Like, I share on here a lot that I don't, like, there's a lot that I don't share online that I don't. I mean, there's whole friendships that I've never had. I mean, friends of mine, family members of mine have had, there's a lot of personal things that are not my stories to share. Medical issues, emotional issues that people are going through, things that have happened. I mean, there's a lot of things, like, in 9 years of vlogging that I have never shared on camera. So, I know to a lot of people it seems like, well, I just filmed 2 videos, I got up and filmed. There's a lot that goes on in my day other than that. I don't really know how to explain other than there's a lot of, I mean, just like anybody else out there, you know, that, so, recently, a lot of it has been the Fox Hollow stuff. I mean, it's pretty constant that, it's pretty constant that, like, I'm like, literally, my source guy is, like, texting me right now about stuff that he sent forward. So, it's just, I can tell you that they are on it. They are on it. They are definitely on it. So, and when I can share more, I mean, I ask, I'm like, can I share this? Can I share that? You know, whatever. And when I can share more, I will make another video about it. I will just tell you that right now. But it's interesting because, I mean, there are a lot of people out there that are making videos and TikToks about it. I mean, there's just, people keep on sending me this one guy's TikToks. I mean, he's making TikToks about it, like, every single day. I will say this, okay? If you have any connection to this story, if you watch the documentary, go back, if you have any connection to the story whatsoever, go back and watch the documentary again, because I do know that one of the reasons why they put the documentary out was kind of to trigger people's memories of things that they might have known that they're wanting to, like, it's not just to, it is to, like, you know, like, pay homage to the victims and stuff like that, but they are wanting to solve this case. They are wanting to, and they do not believe that the case is solved. They are wanting to, they don't believe that it's solved completely. They are wanting to identify all the victims. If you know people that could have possibly been family members or friends of the victims, have them reach out to the coroner. If you have any memory, no matter how vague it is, something, please, you know, like, reach out to the authorities. If you don't know how to do that, contact me. I will get you in touch with those people. So, yeah, but it's interesting because I'm, like, constantly, people are sending me stuff, constantly. And so I'm, like, sending it here and sending it there, and they're asking me questions like, well, where did you get this? Where did this person find this? And so then I'm having to, like, you know, source all this information and be like, and then I have to go back and ask the person, like, are you comfortable talking to authorities? And every person has said, absolutely, yes. Like, I haven't had one person that has reached out to me and said, no, I'm not comfortable. Every person has talked. So then they talk to authorities, and then, you know, it's just, the whole thing is very interesting. I never, when I started making videos, you know, this is the intro that I always say, that I was going to say, when people, like, reach out to me and they're like, well, I saw your video and I want to ask, you know, whatever, I always say, look, I was literally just a gay guy in Indianapolis. One thing that really means a lot to me is that people have been watching the documentary and DMing me and saying, that the way that the gay community in Indianapolis was portrayed in the documentary at that time, like how we were treated, that they have a better understanding of what, like, gay men went through. I mean, it's not just gay men, it's lesbians, trans people, everybody at that time that were going through in the early 90s. And that, I think, is one of the most important things that's come out of this documentary, other than sharing the victim stories and, you know, finding out more about this case. I've had so many people that have reached out to me and said, like, was this really what it was like? It was so much worse than you can even imagine. You know, and Indianapolis is just one city. I mean, this was all across the country, let alone places in the world. I mean, places in the world today. I mean, in Indianapolis, I mean, Indianapolis is a really conservative city. It's a very conservative state, Indiana. But I feel, by and large, pretty safe here as a gay man. You know, those early years, I think I felt pretty unsafe, like, you know, walking out of the club and things like, but things that happened to my friends. I don't know that I feel like that today, but I can remember walking down the streets of Boys Town in Chicago that was, like, all gay and feeling just as unsafe, being shouted out, being ridiculed. I can remember that back in the day too, you know? I mean, it wasn't just there. I mean, there's so many places in the world today where, I mean, you can be killed or jailed for being gay. I mean, it's, I don't know, I think, you know, this is going to sound so strange, but to live it, all right? Like, I'm married to a man, I'm gay, I'm attracted to men, but when I think about getting up in the morning, going through my day, what I do, other than when I talk about it on videos or whatever. I mean, it's like I just had a regular job, you know, like, I don't know, like serving tables or something. Like, it's not that it would, or I worked behind, you know, a computer all day long. It's not like the majority of the 24 hours of my day would be focused around being gay. It's part of who I am. It's not who I am. And so when I look at my life and how much of my life has been affected by being gay, from growing up and being ridiculed and being bullied, to then, you know, this friend of mine that took his life years and years and years ago, I've talked about him on here before, I remember him getting fired. He worked for an alarm company here in Indianapolis. I'll never forget him calling me, and he was fired, and I go, what did they fire you for? I don't remember how they did it. Like, they didn't call him in and say, you're fired because you're gay, but he had, like, worked in, like, a call center, and, like, the owner came in, and, like, and you know, he was pretty flamboyant and things like that, and the owner came in, and he had like, great sales. There was not, like, any reason for him to get fired whatsoever. He was very upset, and the owner came in and, like, talked to each of the people, just kind of, like, walk through. There's, like, several, you know, locations, and, I mean, this was probably 91 or 92. I mean, Indiana was, like, whatever they call it, like I don't know what they call it when you can just, like, fire somebody for no reason. This is why these things are so important today that we talk about. And so, I can remember he said, I think it was like a husband and wife that owned the company or something, and he was like, they came and talked to me, and he was like, I could just tell, like, instantly as soon as, like, they saw me and I opened my mouth. He was like, and he had done, like, really great sales for this company, and he was like, I just knew, like, right away, because after that he went and worked at a tanning bed company. It was weird because somebody that he dated reached out to me years ago and was like, I knew that you were talking about so-and-so, and he was like, you know, I dated him for a long time. He's like, I don't know if you remember me. I totally did remember this guy, too. It was so weird. I, like, remembered him as soon as he, like, emailed me. And this guy was, like, one of my really, really good friends. One of my best friends. I mean, went out every night with him. And passed away after I got sober. But I remember him calling me and being so upset. And he was like, I met with the couple. I think it was, he said the couple. I mean, it's been now so many years. But he was like, and then the next thing I knew, I got called in. He's like, they left. And then my supervisor called me in. He's like, and I got fired. And I was like, what did you get fired for? And he was like, they didn't even give me a reason. They just fired me. He's like, but I know it was because I was gay. He's like, I could tell as soon as they started talking to me. They had an issue with it. I think the one thing that we don't talk about with, like, oppression, and we don't talk about with marginalized communities, is, like, in 2025, this is where, like, the backstepping is so scary to so many of us. It's not just that we have, oh my god, look at that little dog, hey, how are you? Is that new? Is he new?
No, that's the one that got lost.
Oh, I was like, is he new?
No.
Oh, hi, honey.
That's the same one.
Look at you running with him.
Yeah, he's 12, but he's quick.
Oh, he's so cute.
Barely seen him.
He raised his leg. See you later. He raised his leg on her. That's the one that lives 2 down from me, and like he got out. Do you remember that day? Okay. Anyway, she is so sweet. Yeah, but to get back to the serious stuff for a second, I think that's one of the things that we don't talk a lot about, unless you've lived it, you know. And I think this is the other thing too, is that we now talk about, like, and I even do it in my videos. We'll talk about, like, there's a big quotation mark around marginalized communities or people that are oppressed. But, like, my experience is nothing like the experience of somebody that's black or somebody that's Latino or somebody that's trans. Our experiences are so completely different. So to group them all together and say, well, my experience is the same as that. I mean, I had a friend of mine, you know, back in the day when we were talking about this, we were, like, in college. I'll never forget, because she wrote this fantastic, we were in creative writing together, creative writing class, and she wrote the short story about an experience that she had where, I think I've shared this on here before, where somebody wouldn't touch her hand when they gave her, because she was black, when they gave her change back at the store. And I had read things like that before, but I'd never heard things like that before from somebody telling me that. It's interesting how many people I've told that story to through the years that are like, oh my God, like, that happens all the time. You have no idea that happens. Well, that's privilege to not ever have to experience that, right? Like, that's privilege. But I remember she said to me one time, not in like a cruel way or anything, but like as an educational way. She said, see, the thing is that you can sit there and not open your mouth, not move, and people might not assume that you're gay. I can't hide. She's like, there's nothing about me that I can hide. She's like, it's a completely different kind of oppression. So I think we group all this together, but I think that one of the things that we don't talk a lot about in 2025 is that, you know, we don't talk about the idea of, I think, like, in 2025, to a lot of people that don't agree with it, okay, there seems to be this, like, sense of entitlement, right? Like, oh, well, people think they deserve the right to this, or they deserve the right to that, or they deserve the right to this. It's not about, even though we do, it's not about the deserving of the rights. It's about that we had those rights. We worked very hard for those rights. I think that's the thing. When I was growing up, like with my friend that I'm telling you about, I mean, yeah, he was upset about it, but he wasn't picketing the place. You know, I mean, we didn't, like, the next day, all of us, you know, rally around him and be like, we're going to go picket that. I mean, we just thought, well, that's just part of what our life is like. I think that's the sad part, that unless you come, and I don't think it's just a generalization of thing, because I think there are still parts of, I'm just talking about the United States right now. I think there are parts of the United States that have been this way for a very long time, no matter what the laws have been, where people's experiences are still rooted in 1940s and 1950s. So when I came out, I was kind of immune to a lot of it. There was also, and I think that most of my friends and people that was just the expectation was that we would be treated like shit. Which is why the commonality of gay bars, I think, and feeling so free. And, you know, and I think a lot of people are like, well, why are Pride Days important? Because we lived in the shadows. Because we weren't proud of ourselves. Because there was this push to not be proud of ourselves. There was this push that we should be ashamed of ourselves. I mean, that was just, like, that was, it's not even like I can, like, textbook go back and say, well, on this date and this time, this is why we felt this way. I can just tell you, growing up as a gay man, as a gay kid, and then coming out, we did not feel proud of ourselves. If one of our friends got fired because he was gay, we just felt like, well, that's part of what happens when you're gay. We just expected that. It's like when I talk about, like, gay marriage, you know, it's kind of like I say these things, and it's kind of like sometimes I feel like how profound it is really kind of like, it's even missed on me sometimes, that, like, we didn't talk about, I remember talking to somebody later and saying that, and they were like, well, I kind of thought that maybe, I don't remember talking to any of my friends in my early 20s to mid 20s, even my late 20s, ever about the reality of gay marriage. I don't remember ever talking about it. I remember people referring to people that they had been with for a long time as their husband. But I don't remember, and even then, it was kind of like, well, what does that mean? We didn't really even know, you know, like, even within our own community, we didn't really know what that meant. You know, we didn't even know what terms to use as far as like, you know, like boyfriend or... The camera stopped. We didn't even know what terms to use as far as like boyfriend or lover or husband. I always use boyfriend. I'm not a big lover. I'm not a big lover of the name lover because I feel like it sexualizes the term. I think to some straight people out there, it confuses them. I think it sexualizes it. So I would say boyfriend because somebody that was straight, a straight woman would say boyfriend. But I think like what we don't talk about today is that for so long, there was, you know, it's like, well, I don't want to compare my experience with anybody else's, so I won't do that. But it's like, for so long we didn't, not having the rights, not feeling like we were, it's not even safe, not feeling like we were welcome in certain places, or you would go, but like, and I can remember, and my work environment was very welcoming of me. I did have my supervisor tell me that, you know, she didn't think that I should share with, you know, patients that I was like, I mean, they all knew. It's just ridiculous, you know? But like, I can remember going to like one Christmas party at somebody's house, like it was all of us like on our team, and I brought my first boyfriend. You know, and they were all very nice and whatever, but I can remember there were other places that I just knew this is not a place to bring him. Like, this is just not like, I just knew that, you know? And I do think it goes back to a safety issue. I do think it goes back to a seriousness issue of not being taken as serious, as being ridiculed. And I think that that's the other thing. With each, there is a stigma that goes along with each oppressed, marginalized community. There's a stigma that that community has. I think with gay men specifically, it's that we're silly, we're funny, we're not to be taken seriously, or that we're a danger to, you know, that whole thing. Which is why I like, that's such a huge issue for me to like speak about, because that's something we fought against for all these years. But I think that one of the things is, you know, we fought for, you know, when I came out in 1990, I mean, it's really sad when I look back on it, honestly, that I just kind of thought that, like, if we moved into this neighborhood in 1990 and none of my neighbors would talk to me, I wouldn't have been like, I can't believe that none of my neighbors would talk to me. I kind of just be like, well, that's what goes along with being a gay couple in a neighborhood like this. I would have just accepted it. I would have just been okay with that. And when you talk to other people from other marginalized communities, it's very similar to that. It's very much like, well, we knew this is what we were getting into, you know? It's why there are segregated areas like Boys Town in Chicago, where a lot of gay men move because they feel safer in communities of their own, you know? And so we fought really, really hard. You know, with back in the day, we're here, we're queer, get used to it, and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, like, and on and on and on. We fought, I'm just speaking of the gay community right now, the LGBTQI plus community. We fought really hard to find our place and to be welcome. And then it wasn't like we were just given. I think that's the other thing that is so, like, irritating to me about all of it. It's like, well, we gave you these privileges. To insinuate, okay, that you gave somebody a right, not that we didn't fight for it, but that you gave us a right to marriage, which anybody at 18 years old can go down to the city county building, okay, and get married just by the justice of the peace. I don't care who you are. You don't have to prove that you're in love. You don't have to prove that you're doing it for financial reasons. You don't have to prove that you're doing it for whatever. Nobody is going to question a heterosexual man and woman at 18 years old going down and getting married at the justice of the peace. Nobody. But we had to fight for it. 80-year-old couples had to fight for it. You know, we had to fight for things like, it's like, the whole stuff with all, like, the pronouns. It's like, why do people care? Why are people so bent out of shape about it? Like, oh, well, we gave you this. You gave me, what, you gave us what? We fought for it. We fought hard for it. You know, those of us that put ourselves and our stories out there on the line. Hey, how are you?
Fine, how you doing?
Good. We fought for it. So then to act like, oh, well, we're now going to take it away, what that says is that the people that are saying those things, they do feel like we're less. They absolutely do feel like we're less. 100% that we're less. Because that's how you would treat somebody that was less. Well, we gave you this, and now we're taking it back because you don't deserve it anymore. But you deserve it just because you were born in a different body, in a different gender, to a different sexuality. You just deserve it, right? I mean, it's baffling to me. It's just it's just baffling to me. And we don't talk about this, right? Like, we don't talk about this. There's this whole thing of like, well, why do people deserve that? They think that they deserve these rights. Well, why do you think you deserve your rights? I mean, it's crazy to me. I mean, I could get into a whole conversation about all this, you know, like, I mean, it's like when you think about that baby that's born on the day that it's born, it's not like it asks that 30 years down the road that this is what their life is going to look like, right? We don't judge that baby on that day, but we sure do judge that baby 30 years later on the choices that they've made for however their journey in their life looks, and say, well, my life is better, or I deserve these rights just because of what? Just because of what? I don't know. It's just as crazy to me. But I think that that's part of like why we're seeing an uprising now, is because if it had always just stayed the same since 1960 to 1970 to 80 to 90 to now, we wouldn't be surprised with this at all. We wouldn't be surprised. We wouldn't be like, I mean, would some of us out there be fighting for our marriage rights? 100%. We still would be. But the surprise of not having those rights would not be missed on us. We'd be like, well, we're not surprised we don't have them. But then to give somebody something and then be like, oh no, you don't deserve it. Now, that is such a sign of like, we are lesser than. So the message that's being sent is that we're not as important as other people. Because of what? Can somebody please explain that to me? Because of where or how or to what religion you were born into? I like, that is baffling to me. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. You know? I think also, having been raised by a woman that was a very strong faith, Christianity, like, that was not what she taught me that Jesus was about. I thought that Jesus was about love, but I guess I could be wrong about that, you know? Anyway, that was what I was talking about with the Foxhole Farms thing, that people were reaching out to me saying, like, this is how you guys were treated back then. In reality, it's kind of scary, to be honest with you, because, like, back then, we were, like, scared to walk down a street. I don't know if this will make any sense. Like, back then, we were, like, scared to walk down our street for our lives. The rest of it, we didn't even think we were entitled to those rights. We just didn't. We had already kind of, I mean, this is the sad part of it. I think that so many people had just kind of accepted that we were pieces of shit. Like, I mean, I think there was a part of me that believed that. I think that's why you see so much I mean, when we talk about internalized homophobia and people that hate themselves, I mean, it's heavy rooted in their parents' generation, their parents' generation, their parents' generation. I'm just thankful that I was raised by parents that were so loving and really, to be honest with you, didn't give a shit about that stuff, you know? And so, I mean, I've had men look at me that are older than me that hate themselves for being gay because they grew up in the Catholic Church and their parents hated them the second they came out and said, we don't ever want to speak to you again, you know? It's hard not to hate yourself when you hear things like that, I can imagine, right? And so, you know, I mean, I'm not going to say that there aren't environments that I'm not scared to walk down the street in today. There's not places that I wouldn't be terrified to walk down in as a gay man today. I mean, there still are, you know? But not like, it's different. I think what we see publicly is so much scarier now, you know? I mean, I don't know, just is really scarier. It's really scary. I think then also to think about that at that time, you know, I look back on my friends. I mean, I'm like, as I'm sitting here telling this story, I'm like looking back and I'm seeing my friends, like all of us walk into like OPs and dancing and having fun and what guy did we think was cute for the night, you know? And it's like, at that same time, there was a disease that was killing our community. Killing our community. And people that thought we deserved that. I think that's what's really scary to me when I think about like history repeating itself, is that, you know, in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, I mean, even later than that, I mean, there's still people today that believe this, that they would say AIDS is getting the right people. Well, I mean, that's what you get for being gay. I don't remember ever having a choice on it, but, and people would say things, I mean, the horrible things people would say. Horrible things, you know? And, that's why I said something in my drama video the other day. I was watching these TikToks from these gay guys, and they were, hey, how are you?
Happy spring.
You too. She said happy spring. And, these gay guys were, like, going off talking about HIV and AIDS, and I thought, like, weaponizing it. I thought, what are we doing? What are we doing in our community? Like, in our community. We've come so far. And these people, these guys were, like, in their early 20s. And I was like, you need a history lesson, because you don't even understand what we went through. You have no clue. The fear of even, I mean, I can remember being afraid to kiss guys. I mean, if you grew up and you were not gay during that time period, were you afraid to kiss a guy? I was afraid to kiss a guy. I mean, I think that had a lot to do with, you know, the drinking and the drugging and all that kind of stuff. I was terrified, you know? Did it stop me from doing stuff? No. But I was usually wasted most of the time. I don't know. It just is like, to think about. I mean, I had so many friends of mine. I look back on it, I had so many friends of mine that were like, up and like they had just gotten out of law school and were lawyers and worked in hospitals. I mean, to work in a hospital as a nurse or a doctor at that time, I mean, you literally could not be out. You just couldn't. I mean, in the heels of the AIDS crisis, you couldn't be. And I can remember people being like their work did not know what their private life looked like at all. I mean, I just think about that. You know, it's not a far cry from when you look back on, like, the 60s of, like, you know, there's so much real interesting history if you ever want to, like, anybody's ever interested in reading about it, but, like, the tattoos, the star tattoos, that a lot of gay men, and lesbians as well, would have on, their watch wrist, and that they could, during work, they could hide with their watch, and then at night when they would go out to bars, they would have it on their wrist. I mean, it's one of the reasons why a lot of gay men have star tattoos to this day. There's so many things, you know, that I think also when you think about what you go through to come out, and it's not just about coming out, it's about, you have to get to the point where you love yourself enough. I think this is like the part where, like, okay, Pride Day is not about Pride Day. Pride Day is not about a march. It is not about a parade. It is not about drag queens playing in a park. It is not about beer. It is not about all that. That is what Pride Day is today, and that is what Pride Day was 30 years ago when we used to go every year. I don't even go that much anymore, you know? But that's what Pride Day was, you know? Pride Day is a symbol, okay, of Pride Day is a celebration of what we went through. I think that's kind of what people are like, do we need a whole month from it? Do we need it's I think that's kind of missed sometimes. Like, Pride is a celebration of what we went through, and what we went through to get to the point of saying, I am proud of myself for being gay today, is very much in recovery when people say, I am a grateful recovered alcoholic. They're no longer living in the shadows of the anger and the misery of being an alcoholic. They're grateful recovery. They've accepted, and they are thankful for being an addict and an alcoholic for what it's taught them. It's very similar to that, in that there's this whole journey that you go through in, like I said, internalized homophobia, years of hatred, societal hatred, going through all that to get to the point where you can finally love yourself, to be free out amongst everybody else in a park in downtown Indianapolis or Denver or Chicago or New York City or wherever, and dance and say, this is who I am. And I'm not hiding from who I am anymore. You know? And I love myself for who I am. It's like when people are so ignorant that they say, well, we need a straight day. Have a straight day. Did you ever go through that? Did you ever go through hating yourself because you were straight? Did you ever go through wanting to hide that from other people? Not even being able to tell your closest friends. I couldn't even tell my closest friends. Let alone my parents, let alone myself. I couldn't even say it to myself. I can remember saying it to myself for the very first time in the mirror. I mean, it's so terrifying to go through that. And there are people that are out right now, this is their lived experience. They're afraid to say that to somebody today. because of the shame and all that goes through with it. Pride is not about a beer fest in a park. It just isn't. It's not about a drag queen on a stage. It's not about a drag queen on a float in a parade. It's about what we went through so that we can be out of the shadows and live in it. That's what it's about. Don't take somebody else's experience away from it because it's not your lived experience. So what, like, you know, today we live in this world where it's everybody's opinion in, you know, 10 words, and let's just get the most likes and whatever. And it can be the most ignorant statement in the world, but if it's catchy and it's got a catchphrase in it, then that's a powerful statement, right? It's like we've stopped listening to what our experiences are. And one of the things I've learned is that I'm not in most people's experiences. I'm just not. I don't find myself in everybody else's experience. So I need to listen to other people's experiences to learn more about the world. Because my experience is isolated to me. It's unique to me. Even when I talk to my husband about coming out, or I talk to friends of mine about coming out today, or if I talk to a lesbian about it, a lesbian's experience is completely different to mine, let alone somebody that's bisexual. I mean, that's why I always sing out bisexual people in my videos, or I try to, because their experience is completely different than what I went through, you know? And the misconceptions of what it is. And, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's just, I think it's why it's important to listen to other people's experience, you know, and what it's like for them. And I think we're afraid to do that today. I think we're afraid. I think we're even afraid to get in video and say, I have privilege. Because that's like such a negative connotation. But the reality is the majority of us have privilege somewhere. You know? And I think that if we admitted that and we were able to sit down and have those conversations, then we could learn stuff about the world. We could learn something about, instead of thinking we're right about, it's always about who's right and who's wrong about. That shit don't matter. It just does not matter. It doesn't matter. This shit don't matter. At the end of your life, you are not going to be laying on your deathbed being like, well, I was right about this. And if you are, then that is a lonely life that you have lived. That you have tried to prove a point over and over and over again, and you are right about something. Be right. Be right off my doorstep, because I'm not engaging in that stuff today, you know? I mean, I'm 52 years old, and I think I'm still living shit from when I was 12 years old. I mean, I'm not in it today like I was, but I mean, when I look at how I felt when I was 12, you know, at 22 getting sober, at 32 starting to feel comfortable in my own skin, you know? Oh, here's a good example. I can remember when Alex and I got married, and there were some people that I didn't even feel comfortable saying husband to yet because I didn't think they would understand it. Alex checked me on it. He was like, why don't you say husband? Because I would say like partner. I hate the word partner, and I would say it. And he'd say, why don't you say husband? And he was like, we're husbands. And I'd say, well, because they don't, he's like, out of their comfort level. That's when I stopped, was when my husband checked me on it. I was like, he's right. I'm doing it for their comfort. I just wish that people out there that have never had to deal with any of this shit, just for one day, could understand how far we have gone to make in any marginalized community, that how far we have gone to make other people comfortable. If you even knew the lengths that we went to, when people all want to get all bent out of shape about this and all bent out of shape, if you even knew the lengths that I mean, I'm just speaking on my part, okay? The lengths that I have gone to in my life to try to make other people comfortable, you know? I'm done with those days. I'm done. I'm living my life. If somebody else has an issue with it, that is their problem, not mine. That is their problem that they need to deal with, not mine, you know? So, that all from the Fox Hollow Farm stuff. Yeah, the Fox Hollow Farm stuff is crazy. Let me see what he texted me really quick. Now I'm kind of interested after talking about him. Oh my god. I can't see it with my reading glasses. Everybody is walking today. I have to read it later. It's so long. What was I gonna say? Okay, so last night, Alex and I were waiting for, I almost said Fox Hollow Farms. We were waiting for White Lotus to come on. And, it's starting to get a little chilly. Did it go down in temperature? What did I say it was before? 68? Well, I'm sitting underneath here, so the sun's not, like, on me right now. Ah. I thought she was out in her yard. She just drove by. She leaves that way and then comes back this way sometimes. What's the temperature now? Did it cool down? It was 68. Oh, no, it's 66. It did cool down. Last night we were waiting for White Lotus to come on. I don't even know what time it was. It was... Oh! Wait. Last night we watched RuPaul's Drag Race and RuPaul's Drag Race Untucked. So many people ask me what I think about it this season. I don't really know what to say about what I think about it this season. Okay, this week I'll tell you what I think about it. First of all, I think Sam Starr is pageant all the way. I mean, Sam Starr is like the pageant queens that I knew back in the day. I mean, you can tell he's like, I think he's Trinity the Tuck's drag daughter. Sam Starr has come to win. Alex is not a huge fan. I was like, I think she's very humble, and I think she also is very honest. And I think she's funny, and she's pageant, and she's fucking professional. She came to win. Hands down, my all-time favorite this season is Anya Nerve. I hope Anya Nerve wins it. I hope she takes it. I think she is unique. I think she is it. She is like, I love Anya Nerve. She's very smart. Very, very smart. I love Susie too at the beginning. I don't so much anymore. Jewel Sparkles, not a fan. Not a huge fan. I don't dislike her. Not a huge fan. Did not think she did anything shady this week with... So this week was about, they did this villains roast, and Jewel Sparkles was able to put, like, everybody in the order she wanted to put them in, and Ariette got real upset about it, and then Ariette stole her jokes. I thought that... I couldn't believe that that didn't come out on the runway, that RuPaul didn't check her for that. I mean, that's a huge deal, to steal somebody's jokes from them. I thought she needed to be eliminated because of that. She needed to sashay her ass off the stage on that alone, that she stole those jokes from Jewel Sparkles. I don't care how pissed you are. That's some bullshit right there. Lexi Love, I really like. Who else is on the show that I like? I'm trying to think of who else is up there that I'm looking at. Lana Jarre, whatever. I thought she was funny this week, but I'm not a huge fan. There's 7 left. Anya Nerve is probably my favorite. Lexi Love. Well, I can't remember who else is on there. Sam Starr. Who am I forgetting? Susie Toot. I mean, Susie Toot's okay. Susie Toot is, like, kind of full of herself. She thinks she's better than she is. You know what? I'm not even going to look it up. Those are the ones that I remember. Those are the ones that I remember, and I'm sticking with it. Why is there somebody that I really like that I can't remember who it is now? Oh, Lydia Collins. I love Lydia Collins. But the thing is that Lydia... It was interesting because Rube said that Lydia reminds her of the kids that she, like, started doing drag with in the East Village in New York back in the day. Very much. Lydia's very art schoolish. I don't know... I think she'd be a great all-star person. I don't know that I think she's got what it takes to win. She was fantastic this week. I can't even believe I forgot her. Corey Collins, her boyfriend, that left last week. I was like, whatever, it's time. I think the final 3 will be Jewel Sparkles, Anya Nerve, and Sam Starr, and I think Anya Nerve will win. I think it'll be down to Sam Starr and Anya Nerve, and I think Anya Nerve will win. And it should be that. Sam Starr is good, though. Sam Starr could go on. Sam Starr's going to be like the next Alyssa Edwards, but will finish higher than Alyssa Edwards. Sam Starr came to win. I mean, came to win, prepared completely. I mean, that is... Sam Starr is pageant queen. I think Sam Starr did win some huge pageant. Sam Starr is pageant queen. I mean, is she like the current reigning entertainer of the year or something like that, or last year? I feel like Sam Starr won some huge pageant. Sam Starr could go and win entertainer of the year right now. I mean, she's that good. I really like Sam Starr. So, and Anya Nerve I love. Lingerie, Susie Toot, Jewel Sparkles. Yeah, I don't know who. I'm forgetting somebody, but I don't know who it is. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so we watched that, and then we got done, and we had like an hour left before White Lotus came on. And so I was like, do you want to watch Traders UK? And he goes, do you not want to finish Traders New Zealand? We were on the 5th. Now we're on the 5th episode. out of 10, I guess. And I said, I mean, we could come back to it later. And he goes, no. This is marriage fights right here. He goes, no, we're going to either finish it and then start UK, or we're not going to finish it at all. I go, well, I can come back and finish it. He goes, no. So I was like, okay, let's just finish New Zealand. He goes, do you want to even finish it? Because it's so bad. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's, I don't know. First of all, they get out traders real early on it, which they never do in any traders. Because the traders are so bad on New Zealand. So I was like, this one guy that's like this poker player that's supposed to be like so good at bluffing people. I mean, like, he makes me nervous to watch. He's so bad at bluffing people. And he's supposed to be like this world famous poker player, Dan, on New Zealand. He makes me so nervous. Like, people ask him a question, he's like this. What? He's like, he doesn't even want to look at anybody in the eye because he's like so nervous that somebody's going to say something. He's like, what? So anyway, we watched that, and then we watched New Zealand Traders, and by then White Lotus was on. So we watched White Lotus. I said to Alex, I said, you know, a couple people have like commented on my videos about like how slow this season is. I said, I love the pacing of this season. He goes, it is so slow. I go, do you not like it? He goes, no, I love it, but it's very slow. I said, I don't think it's that slow. I said, I'm loving watching it. This season of White Lotus, it started getting really good last night. Parker Posey in it, I mean, I realized last night, okay, so I had kind of forgotten that Parker Posey, I think I said this the other day, you know, Jennifer Coolidge got her start in the Christopher Guest movies, right? Like, she didn't get her start in American Pie, but she did that around the same time. But she got her start in, like, did you guys ever see Best in Show? Parker Posey's in it. Her and her husband fight over the bee. They have to go find this bee toy. They both have braces and stuff in it. She's fantastic in it. Well, Parker Posey was in, like, all the Christopher Guest movies, which is Jamie Lee Curtis's husband. Okay. So, Jennifer Coolidge got her start in that, too. And Jennifer Coolidge is married to the real old guy in Party, what was that? It's a show called Best in Show, but it's all about dogs. And Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy, that's how they, like, before Schitt's Creek was a Christopher Guest movies. It was all these people that were from, like, SCTV. And so, I mean, I watched these years ago. I loved all those movies, like Waiting for Guffman and For Your Consideration, all those movies. I loved them. So anyway, so in the movie, Best in Show, Jennifer Coolidge plays, like, herself, basically. But this wife of this really rich older guy. But then, and she does this, there's this whole scene, and she's like, sometimes we just sit for hours and don't talk. Or we'll talk. It's so funny. But Jane Lynch is their, like, dog trainer. And Jennifer Coolidge is having an affair with Jane Lynch. Okay, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So I forgot, until I was watching this interview with Parker Posey the other night, that's how Parker Posey that's how Jennifer Coolidge got her start, was on. I was like, oh, that's right. So Jennifer Coolidge and Parker Posey go way back in time. And so I was like, Parker Posey is really the Jennifer Coolidge of this season. She really is. And she's so fantastic at it. She is so good. I mean, she plays, like, the rich wife of this finance guy that they're from, like, Durham. What is that? Is that North Carolina? I think North Carolina. They're real wealthy, and he's, like, got himself in this mess of trouble. And she's just drugged out of her mind all the time and just doesn't have, like, no grasp of reality whatsoever. And she kind of, in a weird way, really reminds me of, like, one of my dad, my mom, and my aunt and uncle's, like, very dear friends. And that I always loved growing up. They were super, super, super wealthy. I can remember she would come to visit, and she would, like, lay out these dresses, because I loved fashion, like, in high school. And she would stay with, like, at my dad's house. She'd be like, I can remember this one time, she was like, and this is this new Christian Lacroix that I got. And she just got it at the fashion show. And so she would show me all this stuff, these Chanel outfits. I loved her so much. Caroline does not like her. Caroline's not a huge fan of her. But I loved her so much. She's the one with the indoor pool that we used to go visit in Hinsdale before they moved to, like, Oak Park. But anyway, now they don't even live there anymore. Now they built a place in downtown Chicago. They're fantastic. I love them. They were old family friends. She, like, family friends of my parents and my aunt and uncle before she is married to who she is married now. She was married and lived in Indianapolis. So anyway, but Parker Posey kind of reminds me of her a little bit. My dad and my stepmom and them, they used to go to, like, Positano, Italy, the south of France for, like, a month in the summer. And they would just, like, rent a house. And she reminds me so much of this woman. She would, if I told her that, she would probably be like, oh my God, that's so funny. She'd be like, oh, I see it. I mean, She's 80 or something now. She probably doesn't remind, it doesn't probably remind her of her that now. But back then, when I remember, like, all of that, she reminds me of Parker Posey. She kind of even looks a little bit like her from back then. So anyway, her hair and stuff like that. But Parker Posey's fantastic in it. Oh my God, the tripod fell. I actually cannot believe that it made it this far all the way here, because when I was setting it up, I was having a really hard time. And I'm almost at like an hour, I think. I didn't even look at the time right before, because I was like, anyway, I think I'm close to an hour. But anyway, I was having a hard time with the leg staying up before I started. So anyway, Parker Posey is fantastic in it. I'm trying to think of I love it. I'm loving this show. So anyway, when we got done with that, Alex like turned off the TV, and I said, "Are you going upstairs or going to bed?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm really, really tired." And I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, I'll lay down and take a nap." At that point, it was like 10:15. So I was like, I texted Nikki and I said, "How late are you going to be up? Do you want to watch puzzles? Or you watch puzzles? Do you want to do puzzles? I'm going to lay down." She goes, "How late are you going to lay down?" And I said, 11:30, 12. And I said, "Probably 12. And she said, "Okay." She said, "Yeah, just text me." She goes, "I'll be up late tonight so we can do puzzles." So I go upstairs and I lay down. Alex is finishing an episode of Suits. I said, "I thought you were going to bed." He goes, "Well, I want to finish an episode of Suits." And I said, "Okay." So, so I fell asleep, fell right asleep. And I woke up like at 11:45. So I got up and I texted Nikki. I came downstairs, I was listening to my audiobook while I was like folding laundry, lighting the candles, all kind of stuff. I'm listening to The Deep by Nick Cutter. I'm not into this book. I will tell you right now, I have like 2 hours and something left. I have, here it is, hold on. What does that say? Dark Matter. What is that? Dark Matter. That's not the Blake Crouch book, is it? I don't know. It's a different... Somebody else wrote a book called Dark Matter. A Ghost Story by Michelle Paver. Never heard of it. Anyway, okay. I have 2 hours and 14 minutes left of this book. I'm so over this book. But now that I'm like halfway through it, I'm not going to stop it. So I'm going to keep on listening to it. I'll probably try to finish it tonight, like when I take my walk. And, oh, my neighbor next door went out to walk his dog. I didn't even see him leave. I will probably walk and listen to like an hour of it tonight, and then when I come back, listen to another hour of it, and then maybe do the James Patterson book next or something. But I've got so many audiobooks that I want to listen to. I'm just over it. I'm not really into the story. The story, to be honest with you, is kind of over my head. It's very scientific. It's supposedly a horror novel, but it's about this guy, and so this like there's like this mass like around the world, like this, it's called the forgets or something like that. It's where like this disease people get and they start forgetting stuff. And so he's on like this sub-ocean thing, and it's like his brother goes down there and he's like, "I didn't send for you." And then he's like doing all these tests, and then they start having like crazy dreams and it's like, it's just weird. I don't know. I'm so over it. I'm glad I didn't read it in paper form. I can tell you that right now. So I did that, and then when I got done with all that, I like texted Nikki, maybe during the middle of it, I texted Nikki, hold on, we'll see, when I texted her, and, 12:28 a.m., I texted her, I said, "You still up?" No response. Okay, so I was like, well, maybe she went to bed early, because they went to like Top Golf yesterday, they had such a blast there and stuff like that, so I was like, maybe she's just really tired, she went to bed. So I sat down, and I read, first of all, I am loving that I am back into physical book reading again, but my physical book reading is really coming in the way of my television, okay? Because, first of all, I read about 20 pages of my graphic novel last night, Where the Body Is. It's okay. Those books, those Ed Brubaker books, I want to make this very, very clear, they are not for kids at all, okay? I mean, they are very adult-themed. I will just tell you, there's nudity, it's very adult-themed. So drinking, and it's adult concept. I mean, they are for adults, 100%. And so I read a little bit. They're good. They're really good. They're like detective thriller kind of books. But anyway, so I read like 20 pages of that last night, and then I read like 4 entries and maybe 5 in Late Migrations, and then I started. I think I texted her right when I got done listening. I think I got up at like 11:45. So I think I texted her when I got done listening to the audiobook. So I came in, and at like 1:15, I stopped. No. I came in and I listened to the audiobook a little bit more. And I started reading. I didn't finish reading until 3 o'clock. 3:15 maybe. That Life as We Knew It book by Susan Beth Pfeffer. Okay, like I said, I just want to warn people this before you go out and rush out and buy it, okay? It is written cheesy. It is written from the point of view of a 15-year-old girl. And it feels like you're reading from the point of view of a 15-year-old girl. It's diary entries, journal entries, long journal entries. I am so obsessed with this book. I don't even, it's like one of the best apocalyptic books that I have ever read. My neighbor's going to come around this way. He'll be here in about 3 minutes because I can know how long it takes to walk around there. And he walked that way, so he'll be coming by here with his dog in a second. Watch when it happens. So anyway, I don't know why I just saw that because I saw this other guy walking down there. I am so obsessed with this book, you guys. I bought the whole set of it. So there's 4 books in the set. I am like obsessed with this book. So it's about the moon coming closer and it like falls off its axis. And now it's like volcanoes and tsunamis. They're in the middle of Pennsylvania, or like the edge of Pennsylvania towards New York. And so it's them trying to survive. And like, what would you do? Like as far as food, I mean, all the grocery stores are closed down. No restaurants are open. Like the school's closed. I mean, it is so good. I'm like literally, I could just sit and read the entire thing. I think I read, I don't know, like close to 100 pages last night. I'm obsessed with it. Maybe 60 pages. I don't know. So I finished that, and then I was like, okay, what do I want to watch? Now I had Elsbeth and Matlock still to watch. I think that's the only thing I had from last week. Yeah, because I went through and I redid my list for the week. Oh, this is what Nikki said to me this morning. So we obviously, at that point, it's like 3, I haven't heard from her. I should just text her again, I don't know why I didn't. But she said today, she texted me at 11:46. She goes, I waited all night to play puzzles thinking you were asleep. And at 7:30 a.m. this popped up that you messaged me at 12:28 last night. And this didn't come through till this morning. So anyway, so we're going to do puzzles tonight. That's a def. I said, girl, it's been like 4 or 5 days with no puzzles. We're doing puzzles tonight. Oh, my list. So I redid my list, my television watching list last night. Because I was like, okay. Sister Wives was not on again this week. So we watched White Lotus last night. So, yeah, I'm caught up on everything. I watched... So last night I was like, I didn't want to watch... the battery just went to the halfway mark. I wasn't really in the mood to watch Matlock. Like I said, and oh my god, somebody commented on me, I felt so seen. Somebody was like, it makes me nervous to watch it too. Matlock makes me nervous. And I was so calm and relaxed last night. I was like, I don't know. Like, it makes me nervous because you never know what's going to happen. So I watched Elsbeth last night. I love Elsbeth. Her son's gay in it. And so, like, it's the whole storyline last night was about him and his boyfriend and her, and, like, how she's friends with his boyfriend and stuff like that. And solved this case from, like, 20 years ago. Who was the actress that was in it? From Who's the Boss? What's her name? What's her name? I almost said Alanis Morissette. That's not her name, but it's something like that. Who's the Boss actress? I know somebody's shouting it. Who's the Boss? Cast. Alana. Judith Light, yeah, we knew that. Alyssa Milano, she was in this one. It's always like a big, like not big star, but like a star you would remember. So this week it was Alyssa Milano. She played like this gangster, like this mob, like daughter, wife, and it was good. So I got done with that, and then I was like, oh, I want to watch Station 11. Well, I only had like 2 hours left, and so I was like, before I had to go to bed, and I stayed up way too late. This is why I stayed up way too late. I was like, so I'm on season 1. There's 18 episodes of Ghosts season 1. And so, this is a U.S. Ghost. And so, because somebody said something about they're watching the U.K. one. I heard the U.K. one was good too, but I'm watching the U.S. one. So, I now have 2 episodes left, which I'm going to finish tonight, to finish season 1. So, I was like, I'm going to watch 1 episode of Ghost, because it's 21 minutes, and then I'm going to watch an episode of Station 11, and then just go to bed. Because I've got like 3 or 4 episodes of Station 11 left. I think my neighbor's walking right in front. And that's her flag in her garden over there blowing in the wind. Tell me why I sat there and watched, like, 5 episodes back-to-back of Ghosts last night. I'm obsessed with that show. Between Ghosts and Life as We Knew It by Susan Beth Pfeffer, I feel like I have no life. Like, that's all. I could just watch those. Watch that show and read that book every single night. Like, I'm just like, I am so relaxed and so in love when I am doing that. So that was my night, and then I went to bed, and I fell asleep rather quickly. The battery is flashing at me, so I'm going to get off here now really quickly. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Monday and a fantastic beginning to your week. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Love you.